Welcome to the Jann Arden podcast and show. I'm your host, Jann Arden. I'm here with Caitlin Green and Sarah Burke. Listen to how calm I look. Did you get what I just said there? If you're looking at YouTube, you can see my calmness. The girls were baffled. The girls were baffled for a moment. Listen to how calm I look. And I did that very purposely. Hi guys.
Hi. I love
I'm
your
home
hair.
for 36 hours.
Yep, got your hair did.
And yeah, I'm so glad just to be here. And I feel just being able to come here, reboot my suitcase, chuck everything in the washing machine, redo my travel clothes, because after 2 weeks, you're so sick of your clothes, you want to burn them all.
Yeah.
Oh God, that would be stressful picking out outfits for 2 weeks of stage.
Oh no, the stage is locked and loaded. That's not a problem. That never changes.
Oh,
That's good to go. But I understand what you're saying. I, however, do not. I've got like 4 or 5 different things that just, they can switch. They can be different pieces. A skirt can go with this jacket, or no, it's day-to-day clothes. It's bras, underpants, socks that you never want to see again.
The bra I would so deeply relate to. When I get home from a trip and I see those bras, I'm like, no, these have to go to the back of the bra drawer, and I have to cycle a bunch that I do not regularly wear to the front because I just can't if I've been away for like 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. It's the worst. And you've been in hotels, so it's not like you're doing, like, sometimes if you're staying with family or you rent a house, you can do laundry on the go. But if you're really just like reworking that suitcase and getting a couple done at the hotels, it's like,
And I brought too much stuff.
It's the story of all of
so
our lives.
I had Poppy's. I've got his bed, which can squish down. I've got his food. I've got pee pads for the hotels. I've got his toys. Caitlin, traveling with a child, I can really feel for parents that are traveling with a newborn or a 2-year-old like you have. I don't know how you do it. I want to do this. I want to go down on the floor and do this, because I see people traveling with their kids with their car seats, and they're putting stuff to the side as they go down the ramp because they've got to, obviously check it under the plane, and then carry their kids and get them into the seats and have all their stuff, like all their clothes.
It is no joke, especially if you're traveling with like baby formula and you're trying to time things around naps and like feedings. It's a whole set of logistics that means everything else kind of gets pushed to the side. And if you make it with your own phone charger and like one pair of underwear, you're thrilled because you've spent so much time focusing on how to make sure that they sleep while you're away. And now the contraptions they have for sleep, like I travel with a white noise machine. There's this giant blackout tent that you put over their pack and play called the Slumber Pod. And like these things are not cheap. And so all you're doing, I saw actually a TikTok.
Does it come an adult?
It should. I would love it. But I saw a TikTok the other day of this family, and they were documenting the fact that they were going away for a couple of nights with their son, and he will only sleep in a bed. He won't sleep in a pack and play. And he's probably 3 years old. So they brought his single bed in their car. Like they brought his like physical bed with them, and then they wedged
this kid? Queen Elizabeth?
I know. And I just thought everyone who doesn't have kids is going to be like, you guys are insane. And parents are like, whatever we have to do to make the kids sleep.
I guess.
I will shove a single bed in the back of my SUV and then wedge it next to the hotel bed. Like
that is a commitment.
It is. Travel is not for the faint-hearted.
Well, especially when little people. But I'm glad to have Poppy along. He wasn't happy this time. He just was like, I'm over this. But anyway, Lorelai, Chris's dog, is also traveling. So we talked about this briefly last time, but it's great. I think I'm going to bring him on the one more leg, and then I think we're just going to babysit here and be with my friend here, because it's a lot for me, and I never really relax. Like, how do you relax with your child? Like when you're like you don't really truly ever disengage. When I'm on stage, I'm thinking about, oh God, I hope that gate's still up, and I hope that one door is locked, because what if someone can come in backstage, and oh my God, I'll be in the middle of Good Mother going, what if someone kidnaps our dogs? And then I'm like, what verse am I on? Like the shit that's going through my mind is it's not at all what you think I'm thinking of when I'm standing there. It's very abstract. Mm-hmm. So I think I just need a break. Chris is at least off stage. He runs the teleprompter. I mean, he does a million things. I don't know how that guy does his job because it's not a job. It's
No.
myriad stuff. Anyway, enough of me. I want to go right into, let's get out of this travel because I could talk about being in airports forever. And we are going to touch on Patreon today about holiday travel because this is touted to be the busiest Thanksgiving in the United States, of course, travel weekend ever. So I've been reading a bunch of articles. So we're going to get that. If you're a Patreon member, look forward to that, and also look forward to poo. Anyway, moving on.
Good taste.
Wicked came out. Guess who saw it on Friday? Me and Chris. We had the
like
day
it?
off. We went to, this is last Friday it came out, and Chris and I went to a theater in Kelowna.
Didn't you guys dress up as Glinda and someone last Halloween?
We might have.
So
yeah,
We were Glinda and Elphaba. Okay.
I don't know
Chris
the
was
characters.
Elphaba. I was Glinda. Anyway, Wicked is Wicked. I can't give any spoiler alerts, but it's everything that you'd ever.
Are you normally like a musical person?
No, I'm not a musical
Oh.
theater person. I wasn't a musical theater kid. And judge me if you want to. I'm not a huge fan of musical theater singing, the type of singing that they do in musical theater. And I'm kind of a pop purist, I guess. I don't know. It's just, it never appealed to me. Although if I'm sitting in a seat, I absolutely love it. And I'm always blown away by how wonderful and talented these people are. So I'm not making light of that. I just was never into musical theater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think good musical theater is so good, and so I am like blown away by it. But when I've gone to maybe musical theater that just didn't connect with me for whatever reason, it is energetically depleting to watch for a period of hours.
Yes.
So when you're in it, it's like you better really like it. So you guys really liked it? Did you feel like it was a good adaptation of the play?
Yeah, I've seen the play a couple of times, and I was very lucky to see Christian Chenoweth and Adina Menzel.
Wow.
Or whatever. What does John Travolta call
Adele
her?
Dazeem.
Adele Dazeem. That was funny. But yeah, just seeing that in New York on Broadway, like you said, it was so spectacular and so wonderful, and the production was amazing. But the movie, it took my breath away. The way it was directed, same director as I can't. This escapes me now.
I know his name is John Chu, but I'm trying to remember what else he's done.
Crazy Rich Asians.
Okay. Oh, and that was like a very
just
beautiful spectacle film too.
That's what had totally gone over my head. But you guys will love it. Anyone going to this movie, I'm now infatuated. I might even have a giant crush on Cynthia, who plays Elphaba.
Mm-hmm.
I just was mesmerized by everything she did. And, you know, Ariana Grande there was one critic that said she understood the assignment. And I thought that was really cute because she just nails the cynicism of being spoiled, of being always getting her way.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, when you can sing next to Miss Grande and seem like you're the better singer, that is a feat.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. It's so fun. I can't wait for part 2, which is a year away.
I know. I was just going to say that. I know that they've already got the sequel planned, and it seems like the studio is really committed to this. Like they know that it's quite good, and they know that Aria and Cynthia have devoted so much time into figuring out these characters and these performances. And the press tour for this thing is never ending. The press tour for Wicked is like a U.S. presidential run. It's like I feel like I've been seeing them together doing interviews for 2 years.
And they're super cute.
They're so cute, and they have a great relationship with one another.
Yeah.
And a lot of the moments of them doing promo for this film have gone viral because like they do have this very intimate dynamic, and I think it's done really, really well at the box office. And I'm so excited to think about, especially like this is another thing where there's a huge, we talked about this in relation to Taylor Swift, but there's a real fandom around Wicked. And I always love when you see people like getting dressed up to go to the movies, going with all their friends. They know all the lyrics to the songs. Like that part of it's really sweet to me because like liking something that much is very wholesome and
It's
kind of
movies
nice.
like this that like save the theater experience, right?
Yeah.
Gladiator 2, like both of these films, like everyone is talking about them and going to them.
I really want to see Gladiator.
114 million was the opening
Jesus.
box office for Wicked. Gladiator was almost exactly at half at 55.5 million. Wicked was the let's see what they say, third biggest domestic debut of the year, and certainly the best opening ever for a Broadway adaptation. But Cynthia Erivo is her name. But just go see it for the costumes, the sets. Apparently they built these beautiful sets. And I really had Harry Potter vibes throwback to the school and to the school uniforms and some of the camaraderie and the dances, and of course the B characters that are the supporting friends of the two main girls. But just the whole thing, the music is the star, which I think is fantastic. And if you don't even like musical theater, just go to hear those two women sing. Just go if you're familiar with the soundtrack or if you're not familiar with the soundtrack. But yeah, I just loved it. And 2.5 hours, it went by in 5 minutes. I was so I'm like, no, this isn't it.
Didn't want it to end.
And but I think the second film is shot already. It's in the can. So it was done at the same time. The cost of doing this couldn't be split up. And plus you have young people that age quite rapidly in the world. And to have, I'll mute this so I don't even have this on.
Nothing's even happening.
Oh, okay. I just heard a ding. Yeah, to have these people age out over the course of a couple, not age out, but to have a real definite visible change in their faces. Cynthia Erivo, she's absolutely remarkably beautiful, I think. And
I think she's in a relationship with Lena Waithe.
I don't know who that is.
She's a writer. She wrote on and she was in Master of None, that show with Aziz Ansari, kind of about like modern love and dating. And I know she's like a pretty prominent writer in Hollywood. And I think the two of them are together. And I actually heard Cynthia Erivo on an episode of Armchair Expert. And I really enjoyed listening to her. I really enjoyed hearing about her life, sort of like coming up in East London as an artist and really loving like musical theater and just being such a definition of a performer. Like could not have done anything else. She is meant to be an actress. She is meant to be on the screen, on the stage, and she's very, very fun to listen to. I got a real charge out of listening to that episode.
Just really smart. I'm also interested in something that you pointed out to me called the Swift effect. So once again, keeping with these young women that are literally taking the world by storm, it is looks like some kind of a series, like a 4-part series on Peacock about the Swift effect. What's that all about?
Yeah, so each episode of these 4 episodes is going to focus on a different aspect of her impact on pop culture. And we've heard about this before. You know, they take classes on Taylor Swift at certain universities, and many major publications now have a designated Taylor Swift correspondent because there's so much news around her. So one episode will be around the fight with Scooter Braun for her master recordings. Another one will be bringing a new audience to the NFL because of her relationship with Travis Kelce. And then the economic impact of the Eras Tour. So how much money this brings to every city that it comes to, how much money it brings in terms of the people who work on it. And then also her empowering influence, I think probably mostly for like women in music and kind of what she's done for women as a business as well, because she is no slouch legally, man. She owns everything. She owns so many trademarks, and if you try to sort of infringe on her name or anything that she owns, I mean, she will get litigious.
I tried calling myself Taylor Swift. It did not.
Can't do it.
I had a cease and desist. Yeah, it happened in about 8 seconds because I was going through Cranbrook. Tried to.
You tried.
Mini Eros tour.
Yeah.
It didn't go anywhere. Well, listen, it's women have to stand up for themselves. You can't just I think many years ago, not that long ago, you heard so many nightmare stories about these legal battles that the artists weren't winning.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were literally, the big labels were winning, big management was winning. And so to see her come along and just be, kind of having a triumph and having a moment where
Mm.
the good guy wins. And we talked about the good guys and the bad guys a little bit last week when it concerned Diddy, that, and his shit is still going on. It's unbelievable. They talked today. I sent you guys this little clip about what he'll be getting for dinner in the detention center. It's
Diddy's
so
dinner.
depressing.
Peanut butter jelly time.
Well, apparently they do have a choice of tofu or turkey for their
Okay.
Thanksgiving lunch. But do I care anymore? Like, I just want him to just, and his trial is not even till May.
Yeah, and it's like you always, with these types of people in this sort of dark story, you want to temper how much information you take in around it, because it is genuinely a huge bummer. But I think we talked about this before. I kind of care because I want to follow along and see that justice is served, because he just seems so obviously
What do you think's going to
guilty.
happen?
I don't see a world in which he does not serve jail time, because there are just so many accusers.
I hope you're right.
This mountain of evidence, and then like the video footage of him with Cassie. Like, my God, I don't know how a jury or a judge would see all of this and think to themselves, "Oh, well, he's innocent on all these charges." Like, I can't imagine it.
Feels impossible.
Yeah, it does actually feel impossible.
Well, I hope he's. I think he doesn't think he did anything wrong.
I don't even want him to have a dinner choice.
I know.
You get crackers.
Let's sign
Try
a
not
Get
to die.
gruel.
God
Yeah.
damn it. And another celebrity moron, if you could call him that. It's hard to think of a president of the United States being a celebrity, but really that's what he is.
Yeah.
He's a guy that was the star of The Apprentice, the reality show many, many years ago, and a terrible businessman. And now he's about to become the president. But there was this big thing with Gibson Guitars that not only has he done Bibles and packs of steaks and a failed university and the sneakers, the gold sneakers that he was touting for a while, he's had so many products. Go look it up. It'll like literally turn your toenails yellow. But he's now doing the Trump guitar.
Oh, God.
And it is in the shape of a Les Paul guitar, which is a patented, one of the most famous guitars in the world from a very famous, wonderful guitar player named Les Paul. He created it. And Trump is trying to sign these guitars for an exorbitant amount of money. And he's actually being asked to stop by Gibson right now. But I'm just thinking, what is the correlation with Donald Trump and an electric guitar? Like, I tried to skim through the article and I didn't understand why he was even doing it. So if you guys, listeners, please, if you have any previous knowledge or any idea of why Trump is selling guitars, but they're super expensive, and it's moronic.
Yeah, his campaign headquarters would frequently have merch stores in them, and they made a lot of money for their campaign headquarters and for running their operations. And people have bought into this as a brand, like as a movement. And so I bet they just thought, oh, like a bunch of dudes are gonna love getting their hands on a Trump guitar. Like, I feel like truck nuts should be shortly thereafter.
Are they going to play them with their wieners?
I mean, one can only hope.
What if Trump learned a song on guitar? What would his first song be?
Oh my God.
He can't play anything other than Smoke on the Water. He never graduated from Smoke on the Water, I can tell you that.
Hey, I like Smoke on the Water. I used to
Great
sing
song.
Smoke on the Water
Easy.
back in the day, man. I was happening on Smoke on the Water. I don't know, but there's so many political guys that are doing weird things. Yesterday, I wake up to the news that, what's his name? Gaetz.
Matt Gaetz.
Matt Gaetz is now on Cameo. So he popped up on Cameo, the app that I do, along with thousands and thousands of other people in music, dance, the arts. A lot of people do it for charity. A lot of people just make money. It's a cash cow. 5,000 US for I think a 20-second message from Matt.
Yep.
So he stepped down from being Attorney General, obviously, because that was so problematic. Mm-hmm. So now he's appeared at Cameo. Let me ask you, girls, would you order a Cameo for yourself or anyone else to have a message from young Matt?
Can you
Maybe to your
imagine?
young 16-year-old daughter. Hey, Matt,
Oh,
can you wish our 16-year-old a happy birthday? Who is going to be
send her a couple bucks.
Who is going to be ordering a Cameo? If I pull the app up right now, he is on there. Picture is on there for Cameo.
To me, this is like right in line with what I would assume like he would do, because he left, like he stepped away from his position to become the AG nominee, and then it was clear that he wasn't going to get confirmed. So now he's kind of back in the like political wilderness, which is where he deserves to be. He's more of a notorious figure than he is really like a career politician.
Yeah.
And so I'm not surprised that he's on Cameo, and people who like him and think or people who just have like a sick sense of humor and think that he's like, he's famous for this reason and for being kind of notorious and awful. They might want him to like wish their buddy a happy birthday or something as like a dark joke.
I can't imagine. The thing that's going to be interesting, you guys, you can go onto the Cameo app and you can see their previous, you can see the actual videos that they make. Mm-hmm. You better believe I'm going to be checking this week to see what Matt Gaetz, what his videos look like, what he's saying, and what people are getting for $5,000 US.
$5,000, jeez.
Just for perspective, mine are $99 US. I just think it's fair. I mean, and I usually do 3 or 4 minutes. I sing, I hold MIDI up, like whatever you need me. Like I said, I've broken up with people. I've asked people to get married. I've done it all. But I just was like, oh shit, Cameo, really? Just like, come on,
for
Cameo.
$5,000.
For $5,000. Oh, you should see what some people are charging though. Anyway, it's these guys that you don't have to look very far to see what motivates people. I mean, this is a politician that would actually put himself on an app like this. Like, really, what is your motivation for doing this kind of a job? To me, that screams notoriety, some kind of profile,
money,
being famous. So I think when people are going into politics for fame, and you cannot tell me that Trump is not in it to be famous. He wants to be, well, he probably is the most famous person in the world. Who would be more famous than him?
He's right up there now, honestly. Like he really is.
I would hope Nelson Mandela,
But you're never, Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, you're never going to have people like that are infamous. So infamy has a whole other tag to it. And it's people that do terrible things and people that are deviants, really, at the end of the day. They don't do anything positive for the planet.
And he is a brand, he's turned himself into a brand, and that's kind of what he's always done fairly well. And whether or not all those brands are financially successful or if they have to declare bankruptcy, remains to be seen. But he does this quite well, and he figured out who his base was, and they rode hard for him. And now they want to buy his guitar, or one day maybe they'll buy a Cameo from former President Donald Trump.
I don't know that we got to the end of that story that Gibson sent a cease and desist.
Well, that was it. I mean, right? I kind of tried to dig around for a little more information, Sarah, and it was just, I guess I couldn't get past him making a Trump guitar. I had never seen the man make musical references, with the exception of the bizarre behavior, 15, 16 weeks ago when he was showing up at these rallies 2 hours late, standing there in his trench coat, playing Ave Maria over the loudspeaker.
We know he loves YMCA.
But he was standing there playing music and doing that weird dance that he does, and almost like he was singing it, like he was taking in, it was the most bizarre.
Yeah.
It's memes everywhere of him standing in the trench coat. He looks like the Penguin and kind of moving back and forth.
There's no like musical
but musical, does he play guitar? Like, am I missing something here?
I don't know. I think it's just that they think he has fans who would want a guitar with his name on it.
I was just going to say, like, the only music associations I can even see happening are like the songs that he's been told to stop using.
That's true.
That's the only musical association.
Bruce Springsteen's like, stop walking out to Born in the USA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, moving on. Thank you very much. Goodbye, Dawn. I hope you get sued by Gibson. Single women answer why they intentionally choose to remain out of relationships. and it's quite eye-opening. The reason this caught my eye is you guys know, well, Sarah, you're single too. It's not just me.
Yeah.
You're single because I think you hold yourself in high regard. Yay. I think you are looking for something. Don't you? Am I wrong here? You just gave me the...
Well, finish your thought and then we'll get into it.
What I mean, not snobby, not better than. Please, let me back that up, because I mean that you are worthwhile and that you have confidence and that you believe in yourself, and you're not gonna date somebody that doesn't have a job and is kind of... I apologize.
No, it's fair. It's fair. But I also want that in the other person. I want them to be ambitious. I don't want them to steal and suck energy from me. I want them to complement.
Well, I am definitely a by choice single person.
Yeah.
I think if I put my mind to it, I could date like a goddamn maniac. I could be out there with the lasso and the gold boots. And I mean, I could be dating. If I made the slightest attempt, or if I let somebody know that I was the least bit interested, I think I would do all right. And I'm not tooting my own horn. It's being a public person. It's a whole bunch of things. Plus, I'm super cute. But I digress. So single women answer why they intentionally choose to remain out of relationships. This was interesting, and I want your comments, you guys. Okay. So the first one was they're at peace finally. Thoughts?
Yeah. Yep. It's so true. And every relationship that I've left, I've been like, it's not that I want someone else. I want my peace.
Well, that was the thing. They said that for the first time in a long time, they were focusing on themselves.
Yep.
And having peace.
There's so many women that jump from relationship to relationship, boyfriend to boyfriend. And I mean, I have friends that I can say that about. And I wonder, how are you just on your own, you know?
Mm-hmm. But a lot of people, and I'm guilty of this, went from one thing to the next thing with very little. There was a sketchy amount of time in between my shifting of relationships. But your 20s and your 30s, come on. I mean, I got to cut myself a little bit of slack. I didn't always have like a 3-month buffer.
I found that I would say to myself, I'm going to be like solo now when I would go through a breakup. And I found myself in a relationship again fairly quickly, very often. Yeah. It just sort of kept happening. And it was also, I think, time of life. Like now, I think if I was single, it might be a little more challenging because I was in a lot of social settings all the time where there were so many single people because you're out and you're young, you're in your early 20s or your mid 20s and you're at bars and parties and cottage weekends. And you just wind up meeting a lot of people that you like can connect with.
We're much more social when we're younger. Agreed?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And in group settings.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you're not 20 going, oh, let's meet at Earl's, the 3 of us, for calamari and a glass of wine. You're like, there's 40 of us going to the...
Yeah.
Well, anyway, they were like, we were relieved that I'm only worrying about myself. And it's just like the word peace keeps coming up. Nice not to worry about another person's feelings or opinions and know that the goals that I'm working towards can't be derailed by somebody else. Yeah. And you guys can speak to that better than me. Have you ever had partners that try and derail your goals?
Well, I don't think they do it intentionally, but it's a result of their own things, you know? Like, I'll give you an example at the end of my last relationship. And this ties in with one of the other things on that list, which was exhaustion. I think it was the second or third one on the list. You know, if I'm spending perhaps more energy on keeping you happy in this relationship than like my own mental health, my own physical health, my own anything like that, then, you know, it feels again like that energy suck thing. Like I have to be good and at a solid level to want something else in my life.
Second one was better mental health is always a win. So we can see the connectors here. So what does that mean to you guys? I know what it means to me. But whenever you're...
Self-awareness, maybe.
Yeah, I think also, too, maybe it depends on the last relationship that you were in and how it ended. And so I know from past relationships, not the one that I'm in now, thank God. But when I left, I was like, oh, I was so exhausted. And it was like a lot of like conflict and managing someone else's expectations of you and managing time with them and their life and time in your life. And it just felt like, I remember getting to the point in relationships where I was like, absolutely nothing is easy. Like none of this is easy anymore. And it all feels like work, and I just don't want to do it anymore.
And it's not supposed to feel like that. Like, how do we get to that point where you wake up one day and you feel like, holy shit, this is a lot of work?
Yeah.
And
it just happened. It was like inertia.
A lot of these women said that they felt much more lonesome in the relationship than outside of the relationship.
Never
which I think
sign.
Is so sad.
Yeah,
feeling lonely when you're lying in bed by somebody. I remember going to bed in my last relationship, and they would be passed out from drinking or taking pills or whatever. And I mean this with love in my heart, because everybody's, it just happens. I'm guilty of all these things. I'm sure someone laid beside me fucking feeling the same way, but I would have tears because I was just trying to stay still. And I'm like, I got to get out of this. And then it would take 3 years later, tears rolling down and going into my ears.
In your ear.
And you can hear them going.
Tear.
If you're just joining us, it's not windy in the studio. Those were my tears falling down my face and into my ear canals. So the feeling of abject loneliness, being beside a person and then thinking about, I've got to get up and do this all over again, was hellish. Anyway, our next one is feeling exhausted, which you guys touched upon. So why, I'm so interested in this because it's so...
I can add to what Caitlin was saying really easily. This is an easy concept to understand. Long distance, right? If you're in a long distance relationship, and for me, it was only 2 hours, but it takes extra work. And I think every relationship has an element of work, but in this case, it's like additional work to keep it good and to keep both of you putting effort in. And if it's going to take 4 hours of my weekend, which I mean, I hardly have a weekend right now, I'm working like a dog, then I'm going to ask myself, what do I need more? If the relationship isn't that complimentary right now, even you can still care for a person and love a person and know that it's not going to be the choice you make.
Yep.
So long distance, easy one.
Well, feeling exhausted.
Yeah.
One commenter said, I guess you could say it's purposeful because I don't want to be with just anyone. I'm looking for someone I'm really excited about and compatible with, which is all fine and well to say, because it always starts out exciting. And like you got the goggles on, you got the love goggles on. Lack of
it's
connection,
also just like I find
satisfaction.
People are very hopeful, you know, and by like our very nature, I think. And so a lot of times you get into a relationship and you see so much potential. And I feel like I have stuck around because I'm like, this could potentially be really great. I see all these good things. I think it could improve. Like you start to think like, I could
give it another chance.
I could make this better in some way. There's really something here. And you have to truly get to a place of exhaustion and tired of it all before you say, no, actually, no, I'm going to stop being quite so optimistic about how this could go and just accept the fact that maybe we're going to break up and that's fine. Every breakup gets a bit easier. I find, at least for me, I was like, my high school breakup, I still think was like my saddest one.
I'm opposite. It's getting harder.
Aw.
It isn't easy, but it's not easy to stay either.
No.
Maybe it's the investment even, right? Like as you get older, you're doing a different type of investment into your relationship of time and energy. So like if you've put a really good amount of investment in, then it's harder to walk away.
I'm not completely closed off to it. I sound like a parrot on this podcast because I do talk about being on my own. But I'll tell you what, when I walked in this door yesterday late, after being tired, flying, touring, and I walked in this door with the dog, and I was just like, the feeling of elation, 40 hours, I'll take it. It's just a chance to regroup. But I think coupled with that was not walking into someone, having a conversation, feeling like you needed to visit. Like I really am at an age where the solitude, the stillness, all my stuff is exactly where I left it. I'm not saying to someone, could you not have unpacked the dishwasher? You knew I was coming home. You haven't changed the sheets on the bed. Like You've been sleeping in here. I bet you've been sleeping in these sheets for 2 weeks since I've been away. You haven't done them. Like all those things that may or may not be true. I'm making them up in my mind. Maybe it's somebody who cleans the sheets, who has everything done, who has dinner on the table and a lemonade and the fire's going. Like there's another side of that. Jen Butler would probably tell me, "Oh, I know exactly why you're saying this stuff because I'm setting up the doomsday scenario where on the other side of the coin, maybe my brain doesn't want to entertain the fact that no, it could be really sweet. You could be really missing out on, but it's easier for me to play it out that way, right?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, even like I have just, I truly feel very, very lucky because I think we have a very good relationship, Kyle and I, and we just, from the moment we got together, we felt kind of like that feeling of like someone you feel like you've known for your whole life.
Yeah.
That ease, everything just was so easy for us.
Yeah.
But even with that great base, sometimes you've each just had a different day or a different series of days. And then you come together in the house and you're just coming at things from a different energetic place. Like one of us is chatty and bubbly and wants to hear everything. The other person is like, I have talked for 10 hours today. I am tired. Or even you don't even know necessarily what the other person's dealing with. Like maybe they have some stuff going on with their family or their friends. Maybe they just had a big snafu at work. And so it is just like the combining of the two lives together all the time to just do that can be really challenging. So I think like for me, at least, I'm like, I will always end up in a relationship with someone who can make me laugh, because I think if you can like have a good lull about how challenging those differences can be, you're well set up. But it's not easy coming home to a house where you're like, I don't know what kind of mood this person's in. I hope they've had a great time. I hope they've had a great day. And the same thing could be said about me. Like I could be sitting on the couch in a funk and Kyle comes home like he's had the best day and I'm like, oh, I got to turn it around now. I can't just sit here and watch Housewives and like.
Well, speaking of, good relationships, Sarah, your parents are celebrating an anniversary. So how long have they been together? And tell me and Caitlin a little bit, and our listeners, of course, you guys are also allowed to listen to this conversation. What's their secret?
Honestly, I don't know. I look at my parents.
How many years?
I'm going to cry if I talk about this because I think they're so sweet. I was thinking,
how many years? Today. How many years?
40.
Okay.
Like to do something with someone for 40 years. First of all, to me, it seems unimaginable. I'm like, what? Right? They just like jive so well, flow back and forth together. They're the cutest. And they truly are like a role model relationship. Like I've seen them fight a little bit, but I've never seen anything but like respect and honor.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's so cute.
And usually kids can be submitted to some really hellish scenarios. I think a lot of people grow up with parents fighting to the point where it is an absolute crime of what they are subjecting children to. So to hear you say you just haven't experienced that wasn't my experience.
I know. I feel very lucky. Very lucky.
That reminds me of one of my best friends in high school had parents who were like high school sweethearts, had been together for years, had this really great loving relationship. And then when we got older, she said to me when she was single, she's like, it's really hard for me to find someone because I am constantly measuring my relationships against my parents. Yeah. And so she did say like there is that other side of the coin where you're like
I put that in the card. I literally put that in the card this morning. I said there's a reason I'm single, and it's because you guys show me what an actually great relationship should look like.
Now you're gonna make me cry.
Guys, we're just having a sappy afternoon here, but
I'm also full of cold medication. But
yeah. By the way, I have to tell you, the nose whistle is so funny.
Is it happening now?
It has been happening. Caitlin, I told her like a few weekends ago, I was like, oh my God, when I was editing.
I haven't heard it, Caitlin. I'm not hearing a nose whistle.
Well, I edit the show after, right? And she's like, next time you have to send it to me for Kyle.
Yeah.
Talking about love.
I want Kyle to hear it because it's the kind of thing that's like funny. Our household has been sick with this daycare virus 9000 for like 2 weeks. And it is somehow getting worse. Anyway, so I'm sure you'll have lots of special noises to edit this week. I can't wait.
It's so cute.
I'm really happy for your parents. So to Sarah's parents from the Jann Arden podcast, we wish you the greatest anniversary. And I'm going to sing you an anniversary song now. Oh. It's your anniversary. anniversary, and you've probably heard each other fart a lot of times. And I'm wondering if that's a deal breaker. I doubt it is, because you've been together 40 years and you probably might still have sex. But this is a show where we can't talk about it. But happy anniversary anyway, 'cause Sarah loves you.
Thanks for the alto at the end.
Much, and also your sister as well. Listen, I'm still working on it. I didn't know what rhymed with fart, so I changed midstream, but that's no charge. Okay.
Thank you,
Sarah. Just please tell them no charge from me. That's probably one of the better Cameo songs that I've done.
I was just going to say,
normally, like I said, that's $99. Get Matt Gaetz to maybe do them a little anniversary something. Matt, can you wish my mom and oh my God, if I had $5,000 just to fucking Matt, can you tell yourself to stick your head up your ass on tape for me? Because I just want to keep playing it on a loop.
I just want to see him try to relax his eyebrows for $5,000. I don't think he's able to do it anymore.
That sounded like a game show question. Why? How to relax your eyebrows for $5,000?
The amount of Botox, like whatever injector nurse is seeing him, I think secretly hates him, because there's no way you're doing that to someone's face who you like.
It like dramatically changed shape if you go to the side.
Wild.
It's funny.
And it makes him look like a Harry Potter villain. Like he looks like an evil wizard or something.
Listen,
anyways, for $5,000,
it's over for him. It's over, I think. Yeah. But I would be remiss if we don't talk a little bit about the Amazon thing. I think this is such an interesting story, Caitlin. So you're telling me the Amazon robots are struggling to keep up. So apparently there's 750,000 robots working in warehouses all over Amazon. So tell us about this story and why human beings are still kind of trumping, I hate using that word, still kind of prevailing over the AI workforce.
They're really these robots are really, really simple. I mean, the complex robots that we're all scared about taking our jobs and lives and skin, probably, that is not these. So these are like picking robots. And they say that they're really good at doing things like picking up a heavy container off the top of a shelf or something like that. But they can't effectively select
So
things.
These things, 750,000 of them, are running in Amazon warehouses all across the world.
Yeah.
And so when you put your order in, the robot, like a lipstick, a pen, a fucking
whatever it is,
Jodi Picoult book, they can go computerized and go grab it. And it's like
very claw. Good, Sarah. Yeah, it was. Yeah, like they can go like and then claw, and then that's it. But what they can't do is pick through a whole pile of stuff what the thing that they need is. They're really bad at selecting it. So as much as these are the jobs, like warehouse jobs are the jobs that I think many people first thought would probably go to AI, but like AI still isn't really there. And they actually need human workers in a lot of these warehouses. And I mean, that's obviously good for jobs. They're not the kind of jobs I don't think that like people really like love doing, but you still need them. The only thing I will say is I would hope that robots in warehouses might be able to make things safer, because there's a lot of heavy lifting and there's machines going around.
I was going to say, like dropping shit, or when you're like picking something off the top of a pile, human error is big. Oh, yeah. And there's a reason why there's workplace accidents that are... Anyway, 750,000 of these things.
Yeah.
Well, I've done a fair amount, half and half of my shopping has been Amazon. I've been on the road. I'm not going to lie. I've been sitting in the car when Chris is driving to the next place or on the bus or whatever. And I'm tapping in. I'm like, because I give people books every year and they're a pretty good deal. I have them delivered to Nadine's place. And then the other half has been really curated people that are making things. Like, I'm like, oh, this would be great. You know, this name thing, or just stuff that's more specific. Yeah. So it's been about half and half, but I wanted to do like 75-25 this year of the actual curator. I know Etsy is really good about paying the creator. They offer a service. So I've done quite a bit of stuff on Etsy. I got some really cool things for Nigel and Charlie. But the Amazon stuff's been pretty pedestrian. It's nothing boutique-y or original. It's books. I got one of my friends some walking poles because they've been talking about, I need to get myself some of those. They were $18. And they're these foldable hiking poles. She hikes constantly. So things like that are not Etsy. The Etsy stuff, I bought this really cool lamp on Etsy. I'm not going to say, don't even listen to this, Nigel. If you're listening, take the plugs out of your ear. And if you hear this, I'm not going to give it to you. So it's a really cool, it's a book. It's a book. So picture like the side of a book, the binder of a book, the spine. And out from this book, so the book goes into the shelf, and out, I love how Caitlin is dodging down to cough. So there's this beautiful kind of a little mini Tiffany lamp. Oh. And it's rechargeable. It's got a USB.
Oh, I love
but
that.
It slides in between the books, and then the lamp comes out. So if you're in your library, like they have a library, you click this light on, like over a chair on your bookshelf. I just thought it was fantastic. That was from Etsy.
Cute.
And there's like this couple making these things, and I'm thinking, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, Etsy has some amazing stuff, especially
maybe I'll keep it.
Like woodworking, like furniture. There's actually a lot of woodworkers from Ukraine on Etsy. That's where we've bought a lot of really beautiful.
See, I love that. Good for you guys.
Yeah, Montessori style children's furniture, and the pricing is really great, and it's handmade, and it's just wonderful. So we've done a lot of that on Etsy. And the other thing that stinks, and I know why they did the timing for the Canada Post strike, because it's like a reminder of how much you need the post office. But many small businesses use Canada Post to send their goods.
What is
and
going
so
on?
Now you're kind of forcing people to go to Amazon and go to these things because like we're working with a deadline here. It's Christmas, and sometimes you can't make it into a store and you want to buy online.
Should we take this opportunity to do a quick note on shipping with Patreon and our t-shirts?
Yeah.
So just as a
listen, nothing but segues on this show. Nothing but segues.
Well,
should we take this time to talk about the bum salve? Sure.
Well, we saw a few questions come in over the weekend on Patreon, and so our Only Jann's t-shirts and totes are now on sale. You can find the link on our website, jannardenpod.com. And so we're set up through our friends at Cut Loose Merch. They're a Canadian brand, and they are shipping from here in Ontario. Now, this was sort of your incentive to be one of the first 50 because we absorbed the shipping costs on those.
Oh, great. Tell me that now.
Well, but
I'm sending the lamp back.
Apparently we have lamps on there now. I didn't approve that order. No. So they're weighing all the options of what's happening, but they are likely still giving you the Canada Post option, but maybe with a disclaimer. Once you hit checkout, if you've chosen Canada Post.
It's been 2 weeks on that now. By the time this airs, it'll be 3 weeks. They say they're not any closer to having this solved.
No, they're not.
I'm a little concerned about it.
Right. But there are other shipping options when you go.
Yeah.
So, it may... I think you think of it this way. If you use Canada Post and you're not worried about it being delayed, great. But if you want it by a certain point, or you're giving it to someone for a gift, then you might want to do one of the other options. Yep. But anyway, that's the update there.
Well, thank you for that. Listen, I'm the hat. I want you to pick a Patreon, you guys. Pick a Patreon person, because the Jurassic Park hat is ready to be delivered.
Okay.
And I'll even FedEx the damn thing. We don't have to worry about that. So we are choosing a Patreon person that's going to receive my Mart. We can't decide if it's Walmart, Kmart, Zoom.
If we get 500 more,
Caitlin just said it's a Mart. You got
it's a Mart of some kind.
Yeah,
where Chris purchases.
I've only worn it maybe a half a dozen times. It probably has a bit of sweat in the band that might be of extra value to somebody who's really got a fetish for that. But I'm not a huge sweater, but it's ready. It's ready to find a new home. It's ready to be put in one of those glass boxes, those little frame boxes that you might never want to put it on your head. You might want to just save it in a special place in your home. So one of you guys is going to get that.
Okay. The post will happen this weekend for the Jurassic Park hat.
And I have one little. Go ahead. No, stop.
Oh, I was going to say.
You say.
And we can sort of get into more of the details about it on the Patreon.
Yes.
Okay.
Today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get mad at me, but as we're approaching the holidays, okay, it's just 3.5 weeks away from Christmas or Hanukkah.
Crazy.
That's coming up too.
Same
Kwanzaa.
week.
All these things happen around the same time, which is very interesting. No matter what your religious disposition, a lot of this celebratory stuff. So when you're thinking about whose God is bigger than whose God, it all kind of happens around the same time. It seems a little suspect to me, but I digress. What are you looking forward to eating with reckless abandon, with not giving it a thought, like just that you'll sit down, eating and drinking. That's how I want to end the show. I want to know your favorite stuff that you're looking forward to. Eating, drinking, making, like what are you guys doing for Hanukkah, Sarah? Like what are you looking forward to?
It's latkes, hands down, or as some nickname them, latkies. The potato pancakes.
Yes.
Yeah. I love a latke.
What do you dip them into? Applesauce or sour cream?
Both. I'm a both girl. I put both on the plate. Yeah.
Get some chives on there. Oof.
That chives to me.
Are they crispy?
Yes, they are crispy.
Okay. And your mama makes those?
My mom makes them from scratch. My dad has to leave the house because he doesn't like the smell that's left over in the house.
See, that's what's kept them together.
Marriage.
I'm making
40
latkes.
years.
Go, honey, go have a beer with your friends. That's how it works.
Yeah.
For me, it's cookies. It's always sweets.
What kind of cookie?
There's always so many cookies around. There's like chocolate chips, there's shortbreads. And then when we go to Halifax, see?
Bits and bites. Yes.
I made
like
them.
This is the stuff I just like. It's the stuff that's just around all the time.
What do you put on them, Jen? Butter?
Yeah, what's on that?
It's vegan butter. It's Shreddies.
Oh, good ASMR.
On Amazon, I ordered cheese nips. Don't come after me. These are not vegan. They had something.
There was a deal.
A whey powder. I know what it is. There's some kind of dairy in this. And forgive me. I'm sorry. But I made a huge batch.
Cheese nips.
I'm giving this to all my friends. When I got home yesterday, I took this out of the freezer. I shouldn't have, because it's not for me. And
now it is.
I'm taking it on the road. I'm putting it in my suitcase.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
that's a great gift if you're
my
looking
thing.
for, like, you just want to give something small, a token of like, hey, I love you. Always nice to get. A lot of people do the hot chocolate gifties or
I bought fucking bugles when I was in Montana for this purpose. I said, Teresa, we have to go to a Target or we have to go to one of the marts. I'm just going to start calling it the marts.
Yeah.
Because I need bugles for my bits and bites or nuts and bolts.
Bugles are so good.
Oh my God. If I could tell you guys how good these are right now. They're spicy. They're garlicky.
Okay, what
everything
spices
else
do you
vegan.
put on them?
I do cayenne. I do garlic powder, onion powder. I do a bit of cumin. I do a little tiny bit of celery salt. Some people don't. Oh. I do a little bit of cumin. There's just something about the cumin that's really good. I do a tiny little bit of cinnamon.
Oh.
And you don't know what it is. You're like,
but it's just a little.
What the F is going on?
No paprika?
With these? I do paprika. Okay, I do like a quarter. I do a big roasting pan of them. I do a little quarter teaspoon of chili powder.
We need this recipe.
We're going to put it in Patreon this week.
They're really different.
Yeah.
And I use
Jann's nuts and bolts.
I don't use a ton. I use one. So I buy like these flat blocks of Miyoko's vegan butter. It's the only kind I use. And I cut it in half. Some people have like 6 sticks of butter in theirs. This has basically 1 stick of butter for, I would say, 6 bags like this.
Okay, and how long in the oven at what temperature?
I do it for an hour at 250 degrees, and I turn them every 15 minutes.
That's a lot of commitment, but okay.
You have to. Okay. They're so crunchy.
That's when you
Why
need
did I put this near me? Because I wanted to show you guys my bag of stuff. I always look forward to vegan eggnog. It's so good. Love it. And I'm also looking forward to mixed nuts with the nutcracker sitting in front of my fire. I've got really good Christmas socks that I love. I only wear them at Christmas instead of slippers. And my dad's old nutcracker, which sucks. It's the worst nutcracker ever, but it reminds me of him. Walnuts till the cows come home. Walnuts. Love doing that. Crack nuts. Because I'm having some kind of a reaction to my traumatic childhood, it was not traumatic. I put all the walnut shells back into the thing. My dad used to lose his shit when I put the shells back in the nut dish. Yeah. Jesus Christ, who's putting a goddamn, you don't put the shells in the... So I'm doing that. I just put them right back in there. I don't give a crap. When people come over like, where do you put the shells? Put them in the same goddamn bowl. Put them in there. Merry Christmas, baby Jesus. Put them in there.
Caitlin, did you not just tell us you got was it your G or your G1 today?
My G1.
Congratulations. The first one.
It's the first one. So the G1 is part of the graduated licensing system in Ontario, and it's literally just the written exam. So I go and do the written exam because I'm a licenseless individual, but I want to start my process. So I go and do it, and I did all the practice tests online. No.
Okay.
I feel like you knew this.
I forgot. Go.
Now Jann's all in. She's like, okay, tell us
Jann's
more.
like, my mind is blown. So
it is.
So I go in, I do the written test, and I failed it twice.
Oh my goodness. Like now or previously?
No, now, that time.
Oh.
So the way the test works is you go in, you pay your like $150 or whatever, and then you do the test. And if you fail it, you can just go right back and keep redoing it until you pass. And every time you do it, it's $16. So that happens to me twice. I'm like, whatever. I see it happening to other people, so I'm like guessing this is normal. The question
on the same day, you go in on the same. You go out the door. You go in the door.
This part's multiple choice, correct?
Yeah, multiple choice, and it was like, how many demerit points will you get if the blood alcohol level of your passenger with your G1 is above? And I was like, so those were the ones that like kind of confused me. Anyways, so I did it twice. I finally got it. But I did say to the guy when I came back, I was like, hello, it's me again. Thank you. So I came back and I said, how many times? What's the most someone's failed this driving test? And he said, with me, 26. And then he said someone else at that location spent $1,260 on their test.
$416 for the 26.
Okay,
26
so then
fails.
imagine someone who spent $1,260 rewriting this test in one day. You're there all day.
416 times.
Yeah.
No, that is an impossibility.
Okay.
I was like, I don't know why you'd lie about it.
Well, listen, congratulations.
Thank you.
78 fails, that person. I did the math.
That's really amazing.
If I failed this more than 5 times, I think I'd call it and be like, I'm not ready. I've got to come back. But I do realize you've gone through the trouble of like driving to hell and gone to do it and all that.
I wouldn't pass a written test.
I don't know. It's more.
Caitlin, I would not pass a written test. I don't know zones for this and that. I'd probably be saying 40 when it's 30. I don't know.
Most of us
playground stuff. I don't know any of that stuff. Mm-hmm. It's amazing that they let me drive around.
Okay, 16, you're allowed to get your G1. Like, was there a resistance? I'm so curious.
No, I had it. I've had it twice, but it expired. Right, and then I just sort of was like at the point where I was Ubering predominantly, or I was at the point in my life where I didn't have access. It's expensive. I didn't have access to a car anyways for a bunch of those years. It wasn't like I had a car sitting in the driveway and I like wasn't driving it. But now we do. Like now I'm like, we own a car. I have a son. He can't have a mom who's like not driving. So I just kind of got sick of it and was like, I need to drive. This is silly.
And you know how to drive, right? Like you'll pick it back up.
Yeah. I'm not too worried about that part.
There we go. You let me know if you need me to take you around the block.
Amazing.
Okay, I will. You guys still have to teach me how to ride a bike. Let's not forget about that.
Stop now.
I'm allergic to wheels. This is my joke that I have. I'm allergic to wheels.
Have you never ridden a bicycle?
No. And get ready for the world's saddest violin. But my parents were both like kind of physically sick when I was growing up. Yeah, there's Jann playing the violin. Can we add violin music?
Violin.
So my mom had some health issues, and my dad had a really, really serious, rare health condition that caused his hip to he was on crutches for like a huge portion of my life. He's on his third hip replacement. So like the whole like dad runs behind you on the road with it, like that didn't happen for me. So and again, don't forget, I'm a city slicker. Like I wasn't riding around,
but
like
Caitlin,
suburbia.
A bicycle is a city vehicle. It ain't.
Oh no, for
you're
sure.
You're not going to see people riding down my gravel road out here. I've always think, oh, I'll get a bike. I have nowhere I can ride.
Now it is
with
a bigger
the cows?
deal. The cows, right? Just going by the cows with Poppy in your front basket.
I'm so sorry that you don't ride a bike. I will help teach you. I will run behind you.
Love it.
Can I run? Yes, I will run behind you. And push your cart.
Training
wheels, you're gonna teach Will.
So this is the thing. So I'm like, this is going to happen. I'm going to have to keep learning things at the same rate as my own child.
Because you're going to want to ride a bike with him and Kyle. You're just going to want to ride bikes somewhere.
Yeah.
Caitlin, it's so easy. Once you get up there, you'll go, oh, I get this.
I'll pick it up. I know I will.
You will pick it up.
Yeah.
Oh, but this is the cutest Christmas story ever.
So
all I want for Christmas is to ride a bike. To ride a bike.
Now, I'm just going to make a suggestion for holiday gifts. Like, if you need tires, and I know, Caitlin, you were saying you and Kyle do need some winter tires. Friends.
We have someone for you. You know this, Caitlin.
Yes. At Fountain Tire, you get $225 off a set of 4 tires. Until December 14th. Plus, you save $50 more on any service of at least $150.
And tell the people how they qualify for that $225 off. That they don't have to punch in our podcast code, do they? It's just for everybody.
No, just pop into a Fountain Tire, go on their website to find a location near you. We're going to have a link in the show notes, baby.
Mm-hmm. And don't wait until the snowstorm happens and then you're like sliding all over the road. Like, do it now.
Have you seen where I'm living right now? There's 18 inches of snow here.
Is there really?
My neighbor's son came yesterday, day before, because I said I can't get into my driveway. No,
look, it's right behind her head.
He came yesterday morning and he cleared out my whole driveway. It took him 3 hours. Like, I don't know what he's going to charge me, but I said, thank you so much, Matt. But I'm, Fountain Tire. If you need tires, and you need to get tires put on, or if you need other services, is that still a thing? You get $50 off of a $150 service.
At least $150.
If you're getting tires balanced, or if you're getting any kind of service in your car, and if that is like $162, you get $50 off of that. So
this is a great Kyle gift to Caitlin to get her G2.
Imagine.
So the G2 is what? Is that the next step in the driver's license?
So the G2 is my driving exam. And so earliest I can get that is 8 months if I do like a course or whatever, which I will. So I can get that in 8 months. And if I don't do a course, then it would be 12 months. And they want you to like get experience on the road. Yeah. So I'll be out there driving.
Well, that's fantastic. Maybe Fountain Tire, do you have a guy, a technician that could take Caitlin out once in a while in the car? Yeah. Maybe Fountain Tire will do that.
I'll just come along with you for deliveries.
Yeah, and teach her how to to change a tire, get her real prepared for the road.
Yeah. But whatever your favorite tires are as well. Goodyear. I wish I knew more about tires, but listen, you can go in there and you can get really souped up. Or you can get something, there's a price range for everybody. So don't think you're going to go in there and have to spend, my tires were like $2,800 and they came with this rim. Fountain Tire will sort you out for what your budget is and what you want to spend. So just let them help you and assess what you're driving and where you're driving, how much you drive, what roads you're on. Like, these guys know everything. A lot of people are like, well, I just go from the house to my work or whatever. Or, our family does a lot of traveling. They will know. They have people that are professionals.
Yeah,
Trust me.
They'll tell you if it's like all seasons or whatever. But I know Caitlin has to go pick up our little Will with her feet right now, not with her wheels.
That's right. I'm on foot.
Okay.
You could get a tricycle.
I could. He has a little tricycle. I can just use his
wheels.
No,
but don't they have those bikes where you can pull wheel and a little thing behind you? Wouldn't that keep the bike upright? Anyways, I'm going to look into this.
Okay. We could just get a bicycle built for 2.
Listen, we're going to say goodbye now anyway. We got Patreon stuff to do. This has been the Jann Arden podcast and show.
Gracious good day to you all.
Thank you, and gracious,
as Jann would say.
Gracious goodbye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Okay. So
we have some voice notes this week. And I really missed them last week. I have to tell you.
I know. Okay, so we're going to take it back to the election.
Hi, Jann, Caitlin, and Sarah. My name is Kim, calling from Sudbury, Ontario. I just wanted to comment on the U.S. election. I was extremely gutted at the result of the election, but listening to your podcast today made me see a small light at the end of the tunnel. I hope there are good things that happen in the next 4 years, and it's not just a shit show. Fingers crossed for the future. I so enjoy your podcast and am a Patreon member and love the extra content. I love listening to intelligent women and different points of view that make me think. Keep up the good work, ladies, and I look forward each week watching you on YouTube and in Patreon. Toodly-doo.
Oh, sweet. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. We really appreciate it. Yes, there's lots of light at the end of the tunnel. And I think even, 3 weeks after the election, we're feeling, there's a lot of things in place that are not going to allow any party, just to run off into the sunset, shooting their guns in the air. I think there will be checks and balances, and I think it's going to be an interesting 4 years, but certainly nothing that we need to be completely frightened about. So thanks for your note. We really appreciate it.
And thanks for subscribing to our Patreon. Okay,
yes,
here's another one.
Absolutely.
Hi, Jan. My name is Jennifer. I am also from Alberta, but I am now living in the South Okanagan. I just wanted to say I very much enjoy your podcast, and I'm looking forward to hearing and seeing more. Thanks.
Hey, short and sweet. We appreciate it. You know what? We do this for you guys. As much as the three of us would love to get together and shoot the shit every week, we all have busy lives, but we really do enjoy having these conversations. And we love the fact that our listenership is going up constantly, that our Patreon is growing, and that, we're able to really look forward to 2025 for some from live events that we're definitely going to be doing. So I hope that you can join us at one of those.
Hi, girls.
Hi, girls.
It's Morag.
And Lee.
We just wanted to hop on here and say, Jan, we just saw you last night in Duncan,
BC, and it was a great concert.
We had front row seats. We were waving at you and the boys.
Yep, fabulous concert. And I loved your dress, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Super lush.
Beautiful.
Super lush.
Beautiful.
And did you notice any posters or love notes on stage afterwards from Graham?
I was going to hold it up, but that didn't work, so just chucked it on the stage, and Graham picked it up.
Yeah, hope you got to see it. Morag put her heart and soul into that poster.
That's right. This must be about the 20th time I've seen you. Anyway.
Yeah, we're Jann Arden groupies. We try to get to your concerts when you're in Victoria and Duncan, so you'll be seeing us again as long as you come up here again.
And I'm going to make Lee an Only Jan fan soon. Bye, girls.
Have a lovely day.
That was our first
notes
duo.
From Graham. I have. Yeah, we've never had a duo on here before. There's a first time for everything. I will find out. Those notes are traveling with us because anything on the stage, Adam collects it. So when I see him tomorrow, I'm going to make sure that I ask for any notes because I know I have a bag with some letters in it and some cards, and I will definitely be seeing it because none of that stuff gets thrown away. It all goes on to the truck with us and travels with us. And sometimes we leave right after the show and I don't get a chance to see it. But thanks for coming to Duncan. It was a great time.
Well, there you go. I think we'll leave it at that for this week, but keep them coming.
Keep them coming. Well, listen, stick around, Patreon. We're going to talk about holiday travel. Biggest year. Right now, 2024 is going to be the biggest Thanksgiving year in the United States and probably globally for holiday travel. It makes me tired even thinking about it. But we're going to be talking about that, and we're going to be talking about a colonoscopy that Sarah is going to be preparing for, so you're not going to want to miss it. You've been listening to the Jann Arden podcast with Caitlin Green, Sarah Burke. You can give us a review on any of your favorite platforms. Give us some stars. It helps people find the show. And, of course, you can stream us anywhere. iHeart, Amazon, Spotify, Apple. I could name them all, but you can find us everywhere. Week after week after week, 52 weeks a year. It's all about the holidays, racing up to Christmas Day and Hanukkah and all these great things. So leave us some Christmas notes. What are you going to be eating? What are you going to be drinking? Who are you going to be seeing? What's some funny Christmas stories that you have? We'd love to get your notes, and we'd love to play them on the show next week. So don't forget to drop us a note, and don't forget to go to Fountain Tire because they will help you. You need your tires on now, folks. You need them now. Anyway, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Toodly-doo.